Welcome to the Lakeshow podcast presented by Jack in the Box. It's a weekly deep dive into the biggest stories and topics surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers, winners of the first ever NBA Cup. Allie, Clifton, Mike Bresnahan from the LA Times, Broderick Turner.
There you go.
That was official.
And Allie, by the way, the best dressed guest ever on the podcast.
On the
Turner.
podcast.
I mean, it looks like
Mike, I'm
Just
not
in
giving
general,
you any
though.
wine, okay? Stop it.
he's coming from like a black tie event.
No free wine for you, Michael. Stop saying these things at all.
If you're nice enough to BT Allie, he has an amazing wine collection. Occasionally, he'll lateral a bottle or two your way. It's very occasional. Very, maybe even rare, I would say. But when it happens, it's a good day. Gotta make sure
He
you catch it.
lateraled one me last year, and it's still sitting on my desk.
What? Allie.
Don't worry, Brez. It won't be after tonight is over.
Okay.
Christmas is coming up.
Aw. Are you done with your Christmas shopping before we dive into the biggest present for the Lakers recently?
I have not even started.
BT, you got 2 weeks. What are you waiting for?
There comes a time where you can't even online order anymore because your gifts won't arrive in time.
Yeah.
What kind of Santa Claus are you?
Really?
Yeah.
Keep going, BT.
That's true? A French one.
I think it's like the 15th.
What's today's date?
The 11th?
11th?
That's what, 4 days from now?
You got plenty of time is what you're saying.
I got plenty. No.
You know someone who knows someone
That knows no one.
that knows no one. Having said that, would you believe that, Brez, Broderick and I were in Vegas at the same time and saw each other for, what'd you say, 25 seconds?
25 seconds.
You know where I saw him, though? Outside. The first time I saw him was outside the celebration room.
Really?
What were you doing hanging out outside the celebration
Why
room?
were you inside the celebration room?
Allie, I saw you pregame.
Oh, you did?
Walking down the hallway. You
What was I
said,
doing?
BT. And then next thing I know, you were gone somewhere.
Allie, you can't give
That
BT
means it
10
didn't happen.
seconds?
But then I did see you a second
All I was
time.
doing was working, Brez.
Yeah,
It
I
was-
did see you a
you had
second
You had a
time.
busy night, no doubt about
But
it.
at least you and I were there. Someone here was not there.
He was here.
I was not invited.
Look, I didn't say where he was, Mike Bresnahan.
Yeah. No, we
I
were-
just say that person was not in Las Vegas like you and I were.
Yeah.
Calling.
Yeah, BT,
Speaking of stories to Laker fans.
we were doing a 90-minute post-game show.
Who's we,
90
Brez?
minutes.
Who was this
McGee,
we?
How
myself.
were the interviews that were sent back?
They were good. They were good.
Yeah?
That was
Wow.
fun.
Did they help with the 90-minute show?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We needed I was waiting for you to talk to Colin Castleton. I mean, we needed
Yeah.
everybody, you know?
That was.
That's-
I'm
that's
gonna
a big
give
show to fill.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Mike Trudell. We're actually gonna talk about the two-way guys inside the locker room for both games because that's where I watched the game because my seat was really high.
So was mine.
I decided to sit back in the locker room and watch it, and great stories from them. But Trudell was like, "Hey, let's go get some of the two-way guys."
Yeah, it's a great story,
And
yeah.
Colin was awesome because they were so excited.
Of course, that's a big deal for them. I mean, they don't get the full 500 that the players got.
It's what 150?
Yes, I believe so.
Something like that.
250?
250,
They
but
get
after
250
taxes.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
after taxes. But
Yeah.
still, I mean,
But is it true they get taxed in Nevada, not in California?
oh,
Say it back.
that's I
Or
like
say it
that
back.
twist.
Say it again.
That's
That we
fascinating.
I don't know if it's true or not, but they may only get taxed in Nevada and not
No state
boom,
tax.
boom, boom.
Yep.
The
I
whole
will tell you
250.
that there's these metal cases that were getting wheeled into the locker room afterwards.
Was it
And I
cash?
was like, is there money in
The
there?
cold, hard
and
cash.
Joanna from the NBA was like, Allie, it's where the trophies go. I'm like, oh, this is 2023.
Allie, how much did you get? What was your share?
$0. I actually had to swipe my card to pay for my room bill when I left.
What?
I gambled once and I did not lose. I did not win a dime.
How much did you lose?
Just $100.
Oh, that's not bad.
How much?
Yeah. $100.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't gamble, so
Someone
That
in my
was good.
family does not get a Christmas present this year because of that. Sorry.
Jason. Sorry, bud.
Did you gamble?
I do not gamble.
No.
I just drink some
How's
good
that possible?
wine, and I enjoy the elements of Las Vegas.
The elements like Shaq did?
Not quite. No one can enjoy anything the way Shaq does.
BT, did you stay at Paris, whatever they call it?
Hey, when it comes to that, Brad, I don't fake it.
You know,
It's
okay.
either the real Paris or no Paris at all.
So where did
Okay.
you stay?
I stayed at a Marriott property.
Oh.
Oh,
I
you
didn't
went
book
for the
my hotel
points?
on.
You don't go for the points there.
Oh, Brad, but I booked the hotel Friday morning as I was
Okay.
driving to the airport. It was the prices were going up and down. It was one time I saw a price at $650.
Oh my.
Oh,
Then I saw the price drop to $225, And then
At the
we
Marriott.
went back to 650, and then I got it for a good rate at 205, I think.
Allie-
I'm a company guy. Unlike
Okay.
you and Allie, I don't spend all of the company's money.
PT, was it like the stock exchange? You're watching all these hotel rates go up and down?
Well, I was checking. I wasn't sure I really wanted to go. And then finally, as I was smoking a cigar on Thursday night, and they were kicking some butt, I thought maybe I should go and check this out for real.
Yeah.
Allie, hold on a sec, though. Okay, so I was a beat writer for 12 years.
Yeah.
And actually 13. I covered the LA Kings for a year. And yeah, you pick an airline, you try to stay with it. You pick a hotel chain, you try to stay with it. Why? So that when the season ends, you have airline points, airline miles you can use to travel on your own. You got hotel points. You got car rental points. There's even the parking lot by LAX. I used to park there, so I get parking lot points to use for my own travel and whatnot. But here's the thing. When you're in Vegas, you don't have to stay off the strip, BT. You can find, you don't have to stay in Marriott or Westin or Sheraton, whatever your brand is. You can go away from that if you're in Vegas.
You can stay in whatever room you'd like.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Michael.
Yeah. I'm depressed that you chased the points
truly
in
agree.
Vegas.
It was a last minute thing.
Okay.
And so I chased it because I have some places to be this summer.
Oh.
Yeah, but you stay on Airbnb. You don't use Marriott points when you go to Paris for 8 weeks every year.
Thanks for sharing, Michael.
Apparently, he's got some business to take care of.
Some.
Right. Can I just say, the end season, it was legit.
It was fun, right?
It was.
Both you were there.
It was
That's
just
great.
really cool to see it all come together. The final few days in Vegas, the NBA did such an awesome
They did
job
a
with
great
it.
job.
I'm not sure I could have. I mean, we have some tweaks we're going to talk about later in the podcast, but all in all, just the hype, the energy, the crossover with the broadcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listening to Reggie Miller on ESPN was pretty funny. So I
Yep.
texted him, I said, you know what? You're really good on ESPN. Bad on TNT, Reggie.
What's
Good to go.
Why not? And I cannot tell you what he texted me back.
You can't.
Nope.
We won't be using that later in the
It's
show.
the
Is that what you're
podcast,
saying?
though. It's not the show.
Oh,
Okay.
And I'm hearing we have some Colin Castleton quotes later in the show,
Really?
too.
Yeah.
So there we go. The two-way player
And
for the
some
Lakers.
Alex Fudge
One of them.
quotes.
Yeah.
My Hodge. Yep. You ask and you shall receive. But it was a busy weekend in Vegas. That was the other thing. That's probably why the prices were at $600 because
the rodeo was there.
the rodeo was there. U2
And
was
yeehaw.
there.
They were at my hotel.
The in-season. Oh,
Yes.
that's where you stayed.
I stayed with all the rodeo folks.
Rodeo people stay at the Marriott?
I wanted to buy me a big cowboy hat
That's-
and some boots, but I passed.
Yeah, the rodeo was there. It took and this was also I heard from some of the media people that stayed at the Four Seasons. This is crazy, but room service, 100-minute wait.
Oh,
80-minute wait, just because they said all of the buzz, just everything was going on in Vegas. So it was an interesting weekend to say the
BT,
least.
do you have cowboy boots? Just curious. Cowboy hat?
I do not.
Okay, just checking.
I almost bought a pair though, of boots when I was in
With
Las
all your
Vegas.
friends at the hotel.
Yeah, we were talking about some different things, and basketball and boots came up.
Okay, all right, just checking. So you're a Renaissance kind of guy. You have a lot of different tastes. Just seeing.
If that means a good thing, yes, I'm a good thing.
Okay, so as we know, guys, obviously the Lakers finished the tournament undefeated, 7-0. They're tournament champs. We're going to talk about some of the banner, the first team, et cetera, on the show
banner.
later tonight. But just the overall assessment of the Lakers and their tournament run. What are some of your
BT,
biggest
you were there.
takeaways?
I want to hear what you have to say.
You know, well, the overall picture was that they raised their level of play,
Mhm.
and they joked, sort of, that 500K would do that. But I think LeBron was succinct when he said it's the competition.
Mhm.
And you competed for something for the very first time this in-season tournament, the NBA Cup. So we saw them play at a level that you normally reserve for the playoffs.
Mhm.
And you can't play that way for 82 games, of course not. But to watch the way Darvin coached the game, especially the last game, they did a phenomenal job of slowing down Tyrese Halliburton. And that was all Cam Reddish. That was all Jared Vanderbilt. And also making sure you have AD back there to help you on defense. They were good from top to bottom, the coaching staff to all the players. They was even the two-way guys were good.
Allie, I mean, it's kind of the merging of all these pieces of the Laker team that we thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone's back except Gabe Vincent. Hopefully he's back within a week or so. We've got amazing defense. They're just like tons of wings, athletic wings on this team all of a sudden. You know, they hit threes. Maybe not that one game where they made only 2, but against New Orleans when they made 17, I want to say. I mean, they were just draining. You know, so we finally saw them hitting some important threes in the game. The fast break offense is great. Half court offense is great. And LeBron just a runaway train. I mean, he was acting like it was maybe not June, but mid-May. You know, he was in second round form, maybe even conference finals form. The way he was playing, just knocking these 22 and 24-year-olds out of the way whenever he wanted to on the way to the bucket. Just really, really fun to watch him too.
I think that the defense was just so impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys both just touched on it. Obviously, what they did with New Orleans, but I think too, it's, you know, Byron was here a couple weeks ago as well before that Oklahoma City game at the end of that road trip that they had, and I asked if it was kind of like a measuring stick game test, just because OKC's, you know, at the top of the West, et cetera, near the top of the West, and he mentioned that because they're more of a veteran-laden team in a sense, right? You've got champions, et cetera. It's not so much that you look for measuring stick games. It's more so with a young team. But from a simple fact of, I kind of remembered that, and I was just thinking, though, with such a high potent offense that Indy was, I wanted to know how good their defense was, you know, and could they hang? Because Indy is, I mean, that 128 a game is no
They
joke.
lead the league in scoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw that, I had to read it like 3 or 4 times. And I can actually read Bresnahan, even from the San Diego State guy.
And so much of it obviously is done with that of Halliburton. And so I just think that kind of performance and production on that end was.
Yeah, he'd been on a crazy roll. You know, the previous 2 games, he'd had 28 assists and no turnovers. He still had 20 points, you know, 13 assists, a few turnovers. But I like what they did in the semifinals, starting the semifinals, clamping down defensively. You've got C.J. McCollum, 9 points. Our friend Brandon Ingram, 9 points.
Right.
Valanciunas, 9 points. Zion, he went crazy. He went nuts. 13 points against the Lakers. Woo! And it happened against, you know, again, they slow down Halliburton in the finals of the tournament. And Miles Turner, he was great in the semifinals. He had 26 and 10 against Milwaukee. He was barely a factor. I think he had 10 points, fouled out. AD thoroughly dominated him. One of AD's, I think he's only had 5 40-20 games in his life. And he had one in the finals. He was that special against a very good defensive shot blocking center. And Miles Turner, he just dominated.
And how about this? That 40-20 does not count in the record book.
I know.
Ooh,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about some tweaks because I feel like that would be a good one.
Yeah,
But first,
I wanna
you
talk
guys
more about
mentioned
that.
AD because when we talked about the defense, of course, he's the anchor. 41 and 20, Brez, as you mentioned, efficient, 16 of 24, 5 assists, 4 blocks. Here's LeBron on what his relationship with AD has meant to him.
I mean, everything. I mean, especially at the later stages of my career, you know, to be able to get, you know, a young, hungry, you know, alpha male to go out there and just do the things that he do. It's definitely, you know, giving me an opportunity to be able to not only watch as he's continued to grow, but also be able to try to inspire him as well, you know, as he continued to grow in his career and vice versa. So, you know, I feel like, you know, when we're on the floor together, we're healthy. We know what we're capable of doing. We just played too many games together. We've shared too many moments together, played in too many big moments together to fail each other. So, you know, it's been everything, you know, like I said, especially at the later stage of my career.
I think one of the elements, too, BT, I'll start with you on this. When you were watching Anthony Davis, have you seen that kind of emotion from him that we saw on Saturday? And if so, when?
Time I can remember was in the bubble, the 3-point shot against the Denver Nuggets.
Yep.
Since then, I haven't seen him like that. And it was as if he had something to prove to all his doubters, all the legends sitting courtside who probably talk a little trash about AD. That primal scream, I thought, damn, I like that AD.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see more of that Anthony Davis. And I think we know it's there. And you can't do it, as I said, for 82 regular season games, but you can have a better showing like that than you did against Philadelphia, for example, where they were all just hot garbage that game. But to see him do that tells us he can do that on a consistent basis.
I liked when I got to talk to him in the locker room, and because that clip had him shouting, of course, I'm him, and asked kind of where that came from. And he mentioned, to your point, he said, I had to remind. Sometimes you have to remind people, and it's as simple as that.
I like that, and it is hard to believe that the previous week, the Lakers got crushed by Philly and got beat by a very good young OKC team. And I guess you can't read too much into what happened in the quarterfinals, semis, and finals because we're still 6 months from the NBA finals. I mean, we can't get too crazy. But it was very encouraging to see like an animated, emotive Anthony Davis just pummel. Like I said, some pretty good big men. I mean, you got the New Orleans guys, not really shot blockers, but Zion and Valanciunas, they're pretty stocky. Like it's not easy to score in those guys.
His Miles Turner, top 2, top 3 shot blockers in the league?
Always.
All the time.
And he's one of the reasons why Indy's been playing so well this year. He's probably their second best player after Halliburton. And he was just a blip on the radar in the finals against AD. He was
that
way out there.
Brisk walk on the red carpet pregame from AD.
That's what it was.
That scared him. Just kidding. All right, guys. Tweaks. Do you have one tweak if you would give to the NBA? I have one, but I'll wait for you guys to go first.
I got one that I want to see it. I want to see this impact the postseason somehow. And I think the best way to do that is, okay, say the regular season's over and you tied with someone for 4th in your conference. I would like the first tiebreaker to be who did better in the in-season tournament.
And that be your 7th?
That's your tiebreaker. So that I made it to the semis. You only made it to the quarters. I'm the 4th seed. You are the 5th seed.
Oh,
okay.
So I want to see the play-in tournament, and maybe we're talking about like a 6th seed. Okay, neither team. You're tied for 6. Neither team made it to the playoffs of the in-season tournament. But how'd you do in pool play? Oh, you went 3-1. You went 2-2. Congrats. You get the higher seed. You're the 6th, and you, sir, are the 7th. So I want to see how you did in the in-season tournament affect playoff seedings several months later. I think that would add a little something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my tweak, BT.
I like that.
For me, it's point differential. There was a Boston.
In the tournament.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't like that so much because Boston played Chicago, and you saw Boston ahead by a lot, and they were kind of running up the score.
Yeah, that was weird.
So they could make sure that they were
23 or more is what they had to beat them by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you saw the coaches sort of talking about it and the apologies going back and forth. I think you don't want to embarrass your opponent.
Yeah.
And they were not trying to do that, but they found themselves in that position where they just had to assure themselves a position, going forward. That has to be tweaked. And even the Commissioner Adam Silver spoke about that.
Yeah.
In Las Vegas, where you and I were, and someone else was not there.
Well, BT, by the way, it's not that hard to embarrass the Bulls. I mean, come on, some of those
It
games,
may not be, but the idea that think about the game between Sacramento and Golden State. Golden State had to win by.
That's a great game.
I don't know.
12.
12 points.
Is that what it was?
So there was a stretch where they
7, we're being told.
were late in the game where they had a lead and they just turned the ball over. Like they do. And it was ridiculous. And you start to wonder, are they doing this because they're pressing to get that 7-point differential?
Yeah, you're right. I don't like that part.
Yeah.
What's your tweak, Allie?
Mine is
Uniforms.
You kind of mentioned not all the games in Vegas. I actually think I have 1 and 1A that maybe one of the games, the finals maybe, is played in Paris.
Oh, not Paris, the hotel.
Because what are you going to do when
Paris.
What are you going to do when a franchise moves to Vegas?
Ooh.
However, that's not my tweak. My tweak is, and I thought about this the day of the championship game. I was doing my preparation, and all of a sudden it just clicked for me. And you kind of just touched on it. It's too bad that for an Anthony Davis game, for example, those stats don't count. Because why? It's the 83rd game.
Right.
Okay. So we're how many weeks into the season before the tournament starts? 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. It's not too much of the schedule because schedule makers, this is where it's going to fall into play for you. The Lakers have only played one team twice already and are done, the Orlando Magic.
Yes.
So you got to think about this part. The 2 teams that make it to the finals, whoever wins the championship, you move ahead to that matchup on the season schedule. So in this case, the Lakers play Indy the 3rd week of March. They play them at home on a Sunday and in Indy on a Thursday. Because the Lakers won, you get that one game at home. You grant them the home game, and then you remove the game in Indy
interesting.
on Thursday.
No, I kind of like it.
Now you've got 82 games,
Yep.
so stats can count. And the only thing you're having to do is make up revenue. I understand. But the fact that that team lost that home game, well, if you would have won, there's more incentive,
Yeah,
obviously, when it came to that
Gotta win that
championship game, et cetera.
I like that.
I like that.
So I mentioned this to two individuals, one of which who has a big hand. He's on our team, a big hand in what goes on. And then someone else that we know that was in our pregame show. And they both were like, tweet it out, Allie. And I was like, well, one said, tweet it out. And I was like, no, I want to hang on to it. And then I told the other one after the game and they were like, yeah, like go tell the NBA, go talk. So I talked to Paul Benedict and he was like, oh, I hadn't heard that yet.
Okay.
I hadn't heard that idea. But his wheels were spinning in terms of
They
how.
were.
And then I got back to the hotel and I saw someone tweet it and I was like, I had to put my name all over it. I was like, I said this.
Well, I'm
But yeah.
curious, so if they did that,
That's a tweak for me.
you have to sort of make sure the building is available, right? Everyone doesn't own their own buildings. The Lakers don't.
The schedule,
Clippers
the schedule's done
Yeah,
though. You're
you
just
got
taking the
concerts,
game
you
off.
got Disney on Ice. You
don't. You're
got
saying taking it
I'm
off.
not adding a game. You're removing it from the schedule, so therefore it becomes an off day, too, because you've played one
Okay.
more game than everyone else.
I
now
like
you're
it.
not.
I like it.
Allie, you're pretty smart.
That's a good one, huh? You mean to tell me too that you can't find a way to make up that?
think
The only
you're
thing
right.
you have to avoid is making sure that that game is not already, or those matchups aren't already gone. So like if that was Orlando in,
Then you're in a little bit
then
of
you're a
trouble.
little bit of trouble, yeah. 'cause
Oh,
you can't-
Allie, and you didn't go to a Big Ten school that has 20 teams in their division like this guy did.
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Mid-American.
Yeah, you need to figure out the
Shout out.
Big Ten conference scheduling next year.
Anyways,
That'd be
that's
great.
my tweak. Put it out there.
I like that.
All right, last one. Let's end with something a little bit more fun too about the tournament. We've been touching on it. The Lakers full-time and two-way rookies get big paydays, of course. Full-time players, here's the breakdown, won $500,000 each.
Okay.
Two-way players won $250,000. I will give this note. I kind of touched on it at the very beginning. The excitement from the two-way guys. I watched the games in the locker room
That's
and
pretty
just
cool.
their joy. I mean, there were times, especially in that New Orleans game, where they were in there talking about, "Oh my God, we're at 40. We're winning by 40. Push it to 60." Every time someone got a dunk or a steal, they're in the locker room. And then there were times where like, "Can we go out there and cheer on our guys?" Like it was awesome to hear the excitement. Here's some of the. Demoy Hodge said, LeBron told the rookies, "I got y'all. Don't even worry about it." Alex Fudge, just knowing that he is thinking about us is a blessing. Not too many people are like that. Just says who LeBron is, which we have all kind of heard that. Max Christie, for example, making $1.7 million this season. Maxwell Lewis, 1.1. Fudge, Hodge, and Castleton making $559,782 each. I'll give you a little bit what they're going to do with the money. Christie said he's going to spend some of his new bonus on clothes, but he's going to save most of it. Lewis said he was going to pay off his car, give some to his family, put the rest in savings. Hodge, Castleton, and Fudge. Hodge said, "I'm probably going to help my family back home in the British Virgin
that's cool.
Islands."
Wow, that's cool.
Castleton told us on the postgame show, "Gotta save a good amount, enjoy some of it, and help my family out as well." And Alex Fudge said, "I have never seen that kind of money before, so I'm going to take care of my family and take care of myself." How cool is
That's
that?
cool to hear those young
Really,
kids
really
say
cool.
that.
I think it's so cool.
And by the way, you always have to put this out there, okay? These guys are making almost $600,000. That's really, really good money. But when you get a boost, a bonus of, $250,000, that's incredible. I mean, and same for Max Christie, like you said, 1.7, and Maxwell Lewis, who a year ago was playing Pepperdine. These guys are making over $1 million, but they're each going to get $500K. I mean, that's great. That's life-changing money because as second rounders, historically, you don't know how much longer their career is going to last.
Right,
I like both their games, don't get me wrong, especially Max Christie. He's done a lot of good stuff the last couple weeks, but to get a bonus of $500K, I don't care how much you're making. That's life-changing money right there. That's fantastic.
Except for your life, Brez. I mean,
Are you kidding me?
nothing changes your life. Not
you-
that
What
kind
would
of
you
money.
do with $500,000?
Oh, come on, you guys know.
Buy a
You
place
would buy
in
a
Paris.
home in Paris.
Or for that, you can't buy a home. It would be a nice down payment. though.
Yeah.
It'd be a down payment on one.
Why are you brushing that off like that? Ain't
Well, I'm
nothing?
not because, believe me, where I want to live, $500K ain't going to buy it outright. But it's a start, and it gets me where I want to be, and then I can get a part-time job working at the NBA store or at Starbucks. Or
They have Starbucks out there?
yes, they do, Brez.
They're beautiful Starbucks too, huh?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And I can start, maybe a little company over there, wine and croissants.
I'll invest in that.
Look at me.
What would you
I'm
do
in.
before we go to break?
Invest a lot of it. I've always been like a big stock market guy. So I would, definitely got to have a big party at Shellback for sure, Manhattan Pier.
Yeah.
Everyone's invited, but invest a lot of it. Because I watch the stock market every day. We always got CNBC on at the house. And, BT, maybe you can help me pick some stocks. Because I know you're into the market a little bit too.
Actually, I am in the market, Brez.
No penny stocks
It
either.
allowed me
Give me
to
some good
actually.
stuff.
It allowed
No
me to actually.
NFTs.
There was a time where I paid off my credit cards. I paid off my car loans behind being in the stock market. I've eased up on it in the last 5 or 6 years, but I might get back into it. But my stock market would be buying a place in Paris, France.
Real estate,
Simple as that.
not
Yes,
stocks.
Real estate.
All right. What would you do, Allie?
Yeah, Allie.
I would give to my family, all 3 that I would take care of. I would buy a car, and I would put the rest towards a home. My home
I like
Like
that.
Yeah,
towards
the lake house?
Yeah.
Reduce that a little bit?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
That's a good plan.
You know, you guys, family, I love them, but my nephew's in the music industry. He laughed at me for giving him some money. I ain't giving that dude nothing, and he gives his mom money. So, sorry, family, you guys make your own cash more than I make. So,
This is the cousin that has the Maserati SUV.
well, I mean, put it this way: I went to visit my nephew for Thanksgiving. He wasn't there; he was in Dubai.
There you go.
And then he was in
didn't tell you?
Dubai.
You need him to give you money.
I've been working on that. It's been a little
Forget
slow
the times. You got to work for him, BT.
Well,
Ellie, by the way, if you ever go to BT's house in Pasadena,
stop.
first of all, it's like 8 bedrooms.
I never
or
get
something like that. Yeah. It's like a showroom in the garage, and just outside of it, there's Maserati SUVs, Alfa Romeo SUVs.
Allie,
There's it's like luxury cars hanging out
just
in
talking
Pasadena at a.
nonsense.
Am I right, BT? 8 bedrooms? How many
No,
bedrooms
you're
are-
wrong.
Okay.
But
7?
this is from Allie Clifton, who
If
once
you'd invite me, I'd let you know the truth. Lakeshow fans, remember, we got some bucket of bricks to get to. Remember, you can be a part of this show each week. Feel free to send us your questions, comments. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to take a quick break. On the backside, it's around a bucket of bricks.
6 bedrooms, BT?
4.
4. Okay.
4 for who? It's just you. Welcome back to the Lake Show podcast presented by Jack in the Box. If you're enjoying the show, you can check out more original podcasts from our Spectrum News journalists on the Spectrum News app. Just head to the podcast section to listen to the latest episodes. You can download the Spectrum News app on the App Store or Google Play. Nailed it. Time for a round of Bucket or Brick presented by Jack in the Box. LeBron took over Vegas this weekend and has been pushing for Sin City as the next NBA expansion city. Bucket or Brick, LeBron will help bring an NBA team to Vegas in the next 3 years.
That's a tough one.
Don't give me that look. Don't wrinkle your forehead like that.
You said in 3 years.
Yeah. You didn't think the question was going to be good. I saw that.
No.
Judging
It
the
wasn't,
book by its
it wasn't
cover.
a question. It was the time frame.
I'm bricking this. I'm going to interrupt. I'm bricking this. Because you can't be a player and an owner. I think he's got 3 years left in
First
the
thing
league
for
still.
everything.
He's got 1 more year after this
First time for
on his
everything.
contract. And even MJ had to divest. Didn't he have some weird player owner thing? He had to get rid of some
He
shares.
was with the Washington Wizards at the time.
Yeah.
And they wanted him to play, so he had to divest his interest.
Because you can't be a player owner.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I do think that if it wasn't 3 years, it's an absolute slam dunk. I still think LeBron's playing in 3 years, Allie. In like 5 years, yes. Seattle and Vegas will be the next 2 franchises, and LeBron will be an owner of the Vegas franchise. Absolutely.
A
BT?
light bulb just went off in my head about something.
Oh, wow. Really?
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Go.
did you forget
Bucket
something
or
in
brick?
Vegas?
I'm going to go with Mike Bresnahan on this.
Bricking.
In 3 years is too short of a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think LeBron will still be playing in 3 years. And if they wouldn't do it for the GOAT, who actually owned the team, and then he came back to play with the Wizards, that being Michael Jordan, then I don't think they're going to do it for the other GOAT guy either.
What's your light bulb moment, Allie?
I think he has.
I can't
to
share with
wait
you
until
Did you leave the
he's done
stove on?
playing.
What happened? Did you
I can't share with you. Okay.
leave your car running in the parking lot?
It was reported that Austin Reeves was under the weather before the game. He put up a cool 28 points off the bench. Bucket or brick, AR's flu game rivals MJ's.
Oh. It wasn't reported. I
It's a
reported
joke.
that.
You reported it?
BT. Breaking
Wait,
news.
you reported it?
Dan and I reported that. Yes, Dan Wyke, my tremendous co-worker, was aware of that, and we had conversation with Austin, and he was.
Did you guys report it or did you go tell Shams?
No, we wrote it. It's in the LA Times.
I'm saying you tweeted it?
I wrote it in the LA Times. I don't know how else to say
Did
this.
you break the news at the time or did you write it in your story after?
I wrote it in my story that's in the LA Times.
But when did the story drop?
It was in Dan's story after the game,
Okay.
and it was in my story.
So I wanted
that's
to
on
know
the
how
website.
Shams knew. Did you guys tell Shams?
No,
Oh.
I saw Shams talking to his agents.
Oh, okay. Did we just give away a source? Do we need to edit that out?
I didn't say they
Sources.
told him, but I saw them talking.
You could put two and two
Always.
together, and they weren't trying to be quiet, or they weren't trying to be.
I ain't that dumb. I know I'm not that smart either, but
By the way, that was not the bucket or brick. That is
Okay.
a complete joke.
Okay.
Having said that,
yes.
I have a bone to pick with LeBron
Oh,
because I told him what was happening, and I actually told him, "Do not say a word and do not laugh." And then he yelled that in the locker room. So I'm not happy about it.
what did he yell?
What everyone heard on Spectrum SportsNet. Him yelling about the debate when a reporter asked Austin if the flu game comparison.
Oh my God! No one asked
Yeah.
him that, did they?
You haven't heard. You don't listen. You don't watch Spectrum SportsNet,
Well-
our post game show.
BT, we did
It was
90
a little
minutes.
difficult when you're
You
at
can
the
watch it.
event, Allie.
Touche. I was kidding.
Are you,
Wow.
are you guys on
So
in Las
basically,
Vegas? Did I miss
Trudell
something?
is interviewing Austin.
Well, here's
and
why I
there
didn't
was-
watch the post-game show. Can I tell you why, Allie?
Guy.
No, I got to
Sure.
have to tell you why. Because I knew Mike Bresnahan was on the show. and he wasn't
Hey,
in Las
whoa.
Vegas.
It's a lot.
Had I
I'm
known
gonna
you were
break
gonna be,
that.
had I known you were still, and had I known you were still back here in LA, I'd have turned it on my phone.
In the locker room.
In the locker room. Hey, guys, check it out live.
It was a funny
Yeah.
moment. So there was a reporter that, as Mike Trudell was interviewing Austin, he had asked the question about MJ and the flu game. And obviously, to your point, you reported it that Austin was not feeling well. And I kind
We
of
think.
chuckled. It did make me laugh in the moment. And I kind of drew eye contact with LeBron, who was sitting right there. You saw his locker was near. And I went over and I shared with him what was making me laugh. But at the same time, I said, "Don't you dare laugh or say anything."
Yeah.
And within a split second, he screams to the point where I turned my back and then I looked back and I said, "I hate you." But it was good, I guess, apparently. It was a fun
Ellie,
moment
did you
between
get some
Trudell.
champagne in the locker room? Did you get?
No.
No?
I don't know if anyone knows this. Can we share that only lasted like 30 seconds?
Well-
it was awesome, but that was not
Here's
very
the thing.
short-lived.
I never went into the locker room.
The celebration room or the locker room?
Neither.
There really was
How
a
did you
celebration.
do your job?
I'm good, Allie.
Creepy.
I'm good.
Okay. Anyways, bucket or break, back to it. Seriously, the Lakers officially have a big three. Talking about Austin Reeves.
Ooh, I'll go first. Yeah, they do.
They do?
They do. Austin Reeves is, well, I'm him. He's him.
Okay.
They do have that. I think his legs are now back after some early season struggles. He's a little tired, but he's that guy. And they all know he's the guy, and they want him to be the guy. And everyone's starting to fill into their roles. Cam Reddish is a defensive stopper. That's his role. You have guys like D'Angelo, his job is to really just make threes, run the offense. And LeBron and AD are who they are. Jared Vanderbilt is back. Not all the way back just yet. He's still trying to lose a little weight, trying to get himself toned down. But, yeah, it is Austin Reeves. Who, by the way, how about this? Early 6th Man of the Year candidate. Putting that out there in the universe.
Yeah, he actually
think we put that out
leads
there November
the Vegas odds for Sixth Man of the Year right now on BetMGM.com.
Did they
So
call
it's-
me about this or something?
No, we had it on our show last week. I'm sure if you'd watched the show, you would.
Had you
know.
been in the locker room doing your job, they would have called you.
Allie, I'm gonna brick this, and I still
Oh!
think, and I have a couple reasons. Like when I think of a big three, I think of like 3 All-Stars. You know, Austin hasn't been there yet. Love his game, love his career arc. He hasn't quite been there yet. Like you look at the guys in Milwaukee, Middleton, and well now Dame. a lot of people upset with my assessment. You got Middleton, now Dame, and Giannis, 3 All-Stars. Same with the guys in Boston, Porzingis, on and on. The teams that have the big three, they're all All-Stars. Will Austin be an All-Star this year? I don't think so, because Lakers need to be really, really good to get 3 All-Stars. Right now, they're lingering in like the 4th or 5th spot. I kind of like the makeup of this team. You have 2 All-Stars, and then you have 2 or 3 people who can step up and be that third guy. Sometimes D'Angelo, Sometimes it's going to be like a defensive guy like Vanderbilt. Sometimes Austin. I don't think it's the big three quite yet. But I love the makeup of this team, and I love Austin's game.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, that's the
I
pure
like it.
definition of big threes, Mike Bresnahan.
It's like the big two and the solid four.
I wasn't
How's
going that deep, but I'm sticking with yes. It's Austin.
Fine. Fair enough.
The Pacers put up an impressive tournament run. Bucket or brick, Indiana proved they are a contender in the East.
Ooh, how are we defining contender? Contender to be in the playoffs,
Brick.
contender to win the championships.
What is a contender, Broderick Turner?
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
Allie
it's
Clifton.
double bricks.
They're
Yeah.
not a contender to
Okay,
win.
moving on. This is fun. D'Angelo Russell to Bruce Brown during in-season tournament final. Jokic ain't there next to you today. Bucket or brick, D'Lo wins round 2
That
of this
is
rivalry.
spectacular.
I'm going with D-Lo. I like that, D-Lo. Talk that little trash. Get out of here, brother.
Oh,
that is Bucket City. Good for
And
D'Lo.
he was talking trash during the game. You can see him
Yeah.
running by the bench and, but the quarter
He
ball.
was into it.
that was fun.
Everybody was.
Jokic ain't here no more. Gotta love that.
That
They were
was
trash.
funny.
Like, again, it made the in-season tournament fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
They were trash talk.
Super entertaining.
Last one. Bronny James made his USC debut Sunday with a chase down block. Bucket or brick, Bronny gave Andre Iguodala flashbacks of 2016 Game 7.
If he was watching, well, even if he wasn't watching,
The clips
yes, he
are out
did.
there.
Yes, he did. This is what my daddy did to you. This is what I'm doing to somebody else right now.
Absolute bucket. Glad he's back.
Yeah,
Nice. It was fun to read the stories about it. Didn't see it, but continued health and success to Bronny James.
Absolutely.
That's just awesome. Great stuff.
Absolutely.
Gotta love it.
This podcast went way too long, so I'm going to need you to not come on any podcast days anymore.
Oh,
BT, she's saying we're having too much fun with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for translating.
hey, Braz, you're really down to the definition of things right about now.
We got another show to do.
Yeah.
We got another show to do. Can we
Yeah.
even have you on the show? Do you even know what you're going to talk about? Because you were not doing your job appropriately on Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, I went to the game.
What were you doing? Who were you talking to?
I was working.
With who?
Did you read the LA Times, Allie?
I did.
Okay. Did you see the story about how tired and how sick Austin Reeves were?
That's what you were doing?
Did you read the story about D'Angelo Russell and his little tit-to-tat with Bruce Brown?
I read Sham's tweets. Love you. Thanks to you.
Allie's a millennial, BT.
for
I mean, she
listening to
wants
the
quick
Lakeshow
hitters.
Podcast presented by Jack in the Box. You just walked past me, so if you like what you hear, leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast app. We want to hear from you. Send us your questions. Hit us up on X at Relay Clifton at Mike_Bresnahan and at BA_Turner. Until next week.
BA.
Blue game.
BA.
Hashtag.